Stationers, this one's for you. You know what time it is, let's fix another flat lay. This one, I think we're under the impression that you have to be a photographer in order to post pictures on Instagram, and this is such a good example. She is a letterpress wedding stationery and designer, and her work is so good. It's so stunning. She definitely does post on her feed pictures from the photographers that she designed her suites from, but the picture that she submitted, it was just her designing something on a styling mat and taking a picture on her cell phone in really good light, and it looks so good. So let's go ahead and pick this apart. There's not much at all that we can pick apart. So she went with a symmetrical way to do a flat lay. She did it flawlessly. I would say the biggest thing to keep in mind when doing a vertical symmetrical flat lay, and when I say that, I mean there's two different styles in my book. There's two different styles. There's one that all of the paper goods are very symmetrical, very vertical, and that's my personal favorite. I think it just looks so good because it's a lot harder. And then the other one is like a garden flowy style. We're doing the vertical in this flat lay. The biggest tip, and she's already done it, but for everyone else listening, would be to make sure that when you're doing the vertical, all of your papers are complete, like the top parts are perfectly horizontal. Even like the slightest little like tilt in them can make the eye like zoom to that. She did things in groups of 3, so like the little pine needles bunches, she's got 3 of them. The flowers, she's got main group of 3. The colors, they flow so nicely. The details that you did add in weren't anything unexpected. It's hard to throw things like hairbrushes or hangers into flat lays because it just doesn't make sense to put those types of things into a flat lay. Whereas we're talking about paper goods, we're talking about your invitation suite. So those don't have any room for those things here. But you've thrown in scissors, which go right along with what you do in your line of work. You've thrown in a little bit of gold accents, which complement all of the tones from your wedding invitation suite. I think the details that you did throw in were very minimal, which I would always suggest don't go overboard with trying to just throw things in. Don't overdo it because then it takes away from what you're actually trying to photograph, which is the suite. You're trying to show that off. I love the way that you did the dimension. I love, you and me both do this, and I think it's so good. When you do your invitation, your envelope, you're always going to take, the one, put the flap up so it shows off the liner, but then the other little one that you have sneaked in there, you kind of prop up the flap. If there's like a real word for that, please just come at me because I call it a flap in every single video. You're tilting that flap up. I always add in like a little styling block, clear styling block, to be able to like show that it is an envelope, and it just gives some more like dimension, which is, it's the cream of the crop. I can also tell where the lighting came from, and you did an amazing job with bouncing back that light. So I can tell that the window or your natural lighting source was coming from, if you're looking at the flat lay from the right hand side, there's not a lot of shadows. So that means that you definitely use something on the left hand side to be able to bounce that light back onto your flat lay. But amazing job. This is a good one.